Hi guys, welcome back to Fandom Family Chats. I'm your host Maureen, and today we're joined with Jeanette.
Hello.
And Amanda.
Hello.
And our very special guest who plays Buddy Jr. on Friday Night Lights, Jeff Rosick.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh.
So we didn't get enough of you on Friday Night Lights, I don't think.
Yeah, it was a nice little experience to be part of, and I'm sure he definitely had more of a story to be told. But the show was wrapping up many other lines. So
yeah.
I
did like that one of the first scenes we had with you when it was after you'd come back with Buddy, your dad, and you ran away from him in the bar sort of and just got completely hammered and started running around the neighborhood.
Yeah, that was fun. First thing you do when you're back in Texas. What do you do?
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a teen show with that much drinking. So I think in Dillon, Texas, you really didn't have another option.
Yeah, there's some eyebrow raising moments when you're watching that show, thinking like, wait, they're in high school.
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
Is that just the norm there? Okay, all right. Yeah, especially with good old Tim Riggins. Like, all right, so for some reason it's passable with him. Yeah,
yep.
Okay, yeah, that's just his thing. So
standard. There was a scene where Tim and Jason Street were going down to Mexico, and Jason was driving, and Tim said, "You want a beer?" Said,
right, let's do it in the car, huh?
To a different country.
Yeah.
Do you have any memories from set that really stuck out to you or that you kind of carry with you?
Oh boy, the whole experience in general was, I mean, I'll never forget it. I guess to start, it was my first big television opportunity, and I was warmly welcomed by actor Brad Leland, who plays Buddy Garrity. And so I wasn't very versed in on-set culture or television culture at that point as an actor. And I arrived on set, and I was the first one called for the day. And he wasn't called for hours, but he was there waiting for me. It was like it was just a Stark set. And there he was, just like, hey, I wanted to make sure you were welcomed. Like, I'm so excited. He was just so thrilled to be launching into this storyline together, and it was the warmest welcome. And yeah, he and I are still, no pun intended, buddies. So yeah, it was a great one, and there's certainly many others. I don't want to necessarily give away any spoilers, but there's something that happens in Buddy Jr.'s storyline that was not necessarily intended, but happened because of a real life incident.
Oh, I don't think I've ever been more curious about something in my entire life.
Dude, I don't know how far I should tease it or just leave it up for everybody to, all right, go watch.
Push that envelope a little for me.
Okay. All right. So let's see. There's an incident that happens during a game, or maybe it's a practice, I don't know, to Buddy Jr. that affects his ability to participate in a certain way for the rest of his journey in the show. And that was very much directed by an actual incident that happened to me on set, and the writers and producers were lovely enough to say, don't worry, that this is our job, we'll write it in, and God bless them, they did. And just an incredible family of storytellers that were able to keep me along for the journey. So it was pretty special.
That's kind of impressive because that became kind of like a bigger deal storyline towards the end there.
Yeah.
What happened for you?
There was very much everything was planned out. That there was a whole arc for Buddy Jr. and then also Buddy Jr. and his dad, and sort of a reconnection there and how that was going to play out. And then this incident happened, and they were able to pivot it. And in a weird way, it actually, I think it forced Buddy and his son to connect on a far deeper level than just through football.
Yeah.
So as wonderful as football is for the characters of this town. I mean, for so many people just in the world in general, as a means of connecting with each other, it really forced them to like, all right, you don't have this tool now, the common ground. Now you have to really, connect, father son. And so that's how, Brad and I talked a lot about that too. That it was really cool. I mean, it wasn't super fun going through it, but it was a cool way to pivot our framework of the characters. So
I have to say, as a viewer, I'm so glad I know this now, because I was so curious why they would bring your character back and then make him so awesome, and then all of a sudden, but why?
Yeah, boy, and it happened pretty quick. I was only 2 weeks into shooting, and then it happened, and it was just a fluke thing, and so.
Did you have a moment where you thought maybe your arc was going to come to an end rather than continuation?
Oh, instantly. I mean, because in television, film, I mean, things are moving fast, and they've got things that they need to get done. As fun as it is as entertainment and storytelling and getting to put on a show, it's like it also is a job and a business, and they're going to make the moves that they need to keep things moving along. And so I very much, the very moment it happened, aside from some other very immediate thoughts, one was, did I just lose my job? So, but again, luckily the producer Nan Bernstein, she came right over and she said, Jeff, don't worry, we've got great writers, we're going to write it in, and they did. And so
you can laugh about it now instead of the terror you felt in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
Did you play football in your personal life? How old were you when you started Friday Night Lights? Were you out of high school?
No, I was like 22.
Okay.
But I did play high school football, and that was fun. I played a lot of rugby as well. And
that's scarier than football.
That's a pretty intense. That was the sport that I experienced a few injuries in rugby, to the point where, when I was playing in college, to the point where I finally realized, why am I playing this still? I'm not trying to go pro or anything. Who am I trying to prove anything to here? Just enough. And I had a couple surgeries out of that one. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that was that. But nonetheless, it was great fun and camaraderie and contact sports and all that stuff. But also, sort of a poetic note is what happens to me in the show, which was inspired by my real life incident, which, viewers, go check it out, and I think hopefully you can figure it out. So that happened to me. Then they wrote into the show, and in real life, Brad Leland, that happened to him and when he was playing high school football, right before his championship game. So he was unable to play.
What a weird parallel.
Yeah. He loves that little bit. And he's like, oh man, oh my gosh, like we're even more connected now, Jeff.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
Did you grow up in a town where football was as big as Dillon, Texas football?
I don't think so. I mean, where other than Dillon, Texas, or just anywhere in Texas, is it a bigger deal?
Amanda's from Texas, so she kind of understands the reference.
Oh, no, where?
Right, Dallas-ish area.
Oh, nice. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I was born in Dallas.
Oh, okay. I'm in Richardson.
Nice. I used to live for a year and a half of my life, first year and a half of my life, in Louisville.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
So.
Neighbors.
Yeah.
See, I'm a Wisconsinite, so I don't understand the depth of Texas football culture. But in our family, if you're not a Packers fan, you don't get to live with your family anymore. So I kind of get it.
Got it. Yeah.
So what position did you play in football? I know that no one else, I'm the only one who cares about this out of the interviewees here, but I want to know what position you played.
I was on defense and I was on the line. I'm a short guy for being on the line, so it was often it was kind of like the Rudy of the team, and so I was really good a practice dummy, and I got a few plays in during the games, but yeah, I was a line guy.
Awesome. See, I coach volleyball, so when you were talking about rugby, I kind of thought where I became an adult, I have kids, I have a husband, and there's no way I'm going pro. And I still was desperate to play. And my very first time out, after like a couple of years, I severed my ACL. So my husband was like, don't ever play that sport again. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to coach though. So sorry.
Right.
It's hard to turn away from once you find a sport that you really connect with.
Absolutely. Yeah. And especially if you've been doing it for however long, it's, it's a part of kind of your own identity, and it's like, wow, I have to find a new thing. All right.
Yes. Or you can just coach then you kind of get
or
the
you
feel.
can coach. Yeah,
And
exactly.
Play without anyone knowing that you're actually playing. So
right. And just stretch an hour beforehand, at least.
That would be wise.
Yeah.
I can't say I ever do that, but that would be very wise.
Yeah, I tell myself the same thing, like, you got to stretch today, like, and then it doesn't happen. So.
So what was it like for you in Friday Night Lights when it ended? Because there was this kind of sadness, but like I've seen some interviews with cannot remember his name, but he plays Matt Saracen, and that's who he will always be to me.
Oh yeah. Zach Guilford.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And he was saying that fans would come up to him and say, "I'm so sorry your show was canceled," and his response is always kind of like, "Well, we ran several seasons, so it just came to a natural end." So what was that kind of like for you when Friday Nights ended? Because it was kind of a cult show.
Yeah, let's see, my experience when I came in, everyone it was immediately evident. I got the strongest vibe that like this was just such a family cast crew all together. It was so cool, and I felt so lucky to be welcomed into it. And at the same time, because they were in season 5 when I came in, there was also this sense of these folks have been working on this for 5 years, for 5 seasons. And it was pretty immediate that you could sense that each person had already started kind of going on to the next chapters of their own journeys. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, they had all this, they've had 5 years to grow relationships together, both on and off set, and which has been great. And there's all that familiarity there. And coming in at the very end, it's sort of kind of like I'm like the third cousin, like, hey, I'm at the family reunion. How's it going, everybody? And it was great and wonderful. But I guess to echo Zach Guilford's response is that I think by then they had sort of gone through I don't want to say grieving process, but they were comfortable enough to let the story end where it was going to end and move on. So yeah. So, and for me, I was just, I'm happy to be here. This is great. And that was that. So, and I've got a couple of friendships still out of it, and which is great. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you still live in the same kind of area where you filmed? Because I know a lot of the people who filmed that ended up just staying in Austin.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. No, I was living in LA at the time.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm not in LA anymore. I'm up in Portland, Oregon. So where I'm from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why that just makes me think of New Girl. Every time I think of Oregon, I just think of Zooey Deschanel in New Girl.
Gotcha.
Good show.
So how did you get your start like in the entertainment industry? Was it something that you always knew you wanted to do, or?
Yeah, I grew up in grade school, high school, doing plays and stuff. Loved it. In grade school, I was doing piano lessons, and Ooh. Much to my mom was all about it, and just do it. And it was the first time I ever subscribed to elder advice. I had about 2 years left in this 10-year formal piano program here in Oregon, and I was at the point in high school where I was starting to find a life a little bit and have fun, and piano lessons were really rigid to me, but I was so close. And there was one time where one of my mom's colleagues just out of the blue said, "I wish I didn't quit when I was your age." And for whatever reason, that just hit me smack in the middle of the eyes. And I thought, all right, let's just finish this out. And so I did that, which I'm grateful for. And but I started out high school as like the kid looking down at his shoes all the time. I was really shy, and I found my way onto stage through tech theater. And so I was working backstage, and that warmed me up a bit. And so yeah, I got onto stage and just absolutely loved it. And then my mom was very insistent. I understand where she was coming from, well-intended. You know, when you go to college, get something safe, aka go into business. And so my first year, I declared an accounting major, and I had the most amazing accounting teacher where she made it so fun. She made it absolutely fun. And I thought, okay, yeah, I can do this. But deep down, there was always this voice that was like, you know, really what you love and what you want to be doing. And don't know how it's going to work, but it's like, you got to go figure out how to do it. And so I got through that first year, and then I no longer had that teacher because that was the only class that she taught at that level. And so then I was my sophomore year and didn't have her anymore. And I realized accounting is not for me. And I said, Mom, I can't do this. And I went straight to the admin building and declared a theater major, went into that, and happy with that choice. And then I, out of college, started working at a music house. They do broadcast music, custom music for promos and stuff. And they're now closed, but lots of jingle stuff, from local things all the way to like the Olympics. And I started answering their phones, and then I got a couple of opportunities to make some music of my own, to compose. And one of the it was a very small office, just the three other guys, and the then vice president, he came and saw me in a show, This Is Our Youth, a play that I'd put on with a couple of friends. And he came and saw it, and was the last to leave one night, and or the night came and said, come and chat with me on, you know, Monday when you come into the office. And so that was the beginning of like a 9-month stretch where I learned that he used to be in the representation arenas of the entertainment industry in LA for years. And so he told me all sorts of stories and handed me pearls of wisdom. And then finally enough roads were at a cross where he said, all right, Jeff, you need to, like, you're fired. You've got 2 weeks to either go give LA a shot or go find another job. Like, what are you doing here? And so I packed up my car and went to LA and was there for about a year and a half, I think. And then I had linked up through an acting class. A peer had introduced me to his manager. And within it was like 3 months, I get this email saying, hey, you've got this audition for the show. It's called Friday Night Lights. And here's the breakdown of the character. And I looked up who Brad Leland was because it mentioned Buddy Garrity. And I was like, I think I kind of look like I could be that guy's son.
You do so much.
So I went to the audition and felt really great about it, and then was called back pretty quickly. And I was driving away from the call. I was driving back to my apartment, and I got a call from my then manager saying, can you have your bags packed in like 2 days? Like, you're gonna leave soon to Austin for 3 months. They want to cast you. And it was just I'm getting goosebumps reliving it right now. It was just, it was one of those, wow, this is happening. That's really, really great. And so I was off to Austin, and yeah, I might have gotten off track. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you did.
You answered.
Okay.
That's great.
Our favorite answers are the ones that go off track.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Have a lot of details. So we like those.
I got you.
And I love the part about the accountant, because I am an accountant, and so I know that it's definitely not for everyone. So I totally understand.
Sure. Yeah, but it's necessary. So yeah.
Very true.
and I'm not good at math, but I had in college, I had an accounting class. I had 2 accounting classes with the same teacher, and I loved the accounting class, but I do not like math. So it was just, that was never going to work.
Kind of important. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
big part.
So
Yeah.
I understand where you're going there. So is music something that you still do?
Yeah, absolutely. I love making music as much as I can. I specifically love orchestral music. So again, I love composing and like for film and television and stuff like that. And I did a lot of commercial work, but I've got a lot of my own personal projects that are in various stages and as current life allows. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is it just piano that you play, which is a big deal? But
yeah, pretty much. I mean, I play the guitar. I can hold my own with a rhythm and stuff, but I can't do anything super fancy. I have to learn that. But yeah, piano and guitar are my main ones.
okay, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
were you able to utilize that as you were, because I know you said you acted in plays, were you able to like join maybe the orchestra sets on some of the plays that you did? Or was it more just the acting portion?
What do you mean?
Well, like in like Broadway musicals where they have the pit where they all play the music.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. No, I was never a player or a musician in any of the plays. I was more into saying the lines and singing the notes. So
Okay, that was the other thing I was going to ask, is if you could sing well.
I can sing. I think I can hold a tune, and yeah, I've got a couple of demo songs up on YouTube that on my channel. But yeah, I should put some. I need to put some more stuff up. So
There you go. Yeah, I
Good.
didn't even realize you had a YouTube channel that you had your music on there.
oh, I mean, for a long time, it's just been a placeholder of just the random stuff, that anyone will have of their own, and yeah. So
Okay. So in your experience comparing theater to like TV or movies, whatever kind of acting opposite theater, which do you prefer, one medium over the other?
no, because they're both wonderful in their own way, and I mean, theater, being able to do something start to finish in one setting with a bunch of other humans in the room is just I don't even, maybe there's like a German word for it, because we're always so limited in our American English, but it's just the sense of community and presence and being right there in that moment. You can't repeat it ever.
Yeah.
That's the way it's going to go, and you were there for that. That's a magic that is just wonderful to be part of and play with. But then again, with film and television and anything that's on film, it's really exciting to be part of a project that has so many moving parts, and to get it just right, all the way from writing it, then to shooting it, and then editing and adding music, and just seeing how it all comes together. I mean, I could watch behind the scenes show reels forever. It's like where they have here's how they actually shot this one sequence, and you see it, and it looks like, oh great, yeah, they're on the top of a mountain, and there's explosions and there's dragons, and it's like, actually we're going to pause it, we're going to fade all the screens back, it's them on top of a box in a studio behind a green screen, and then we're going to swipe in, we're going to see the next level, and then the next level, and the next level, and before you know it, it's like, oh my gosh, we went from the inside of a tiny room to the top of the mountain. So that whole process is just fascinating and fun to be part of the creation of it. So I wouldn't say that I prefer one over the other. I'd say I love doing both. So.
Yeah, that's a good answer. And plus, acting is in itself something that if you're an actor, you just love to do that.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So as far as your character, Buddy Jr., would you say that you're similar? Do you have a lot of things in common, or how would you compare yourself to him?
I hope I don't have many commonalities these days. But I mean, he was a teenager that needed some reconnection, and I like to think that as much as any teen is rebellious or has a bit of a tude, it's oftentimes like, well, there's a lack of connection there. Maybe there's a
Right.
lack of being heard or a love. And so, I think that's something that we can all understand and relate to. And I tried my best back, when we were shooting it to tap into that. But I think back then I was very much riding high on like, cool, this is a super fun experience as me,
Yeah.
Jeff, the person. And then, as the actor, like just trying to connect as much of my, I guess it was pretty recent high school experience, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't say there's a strong similarity in storylines or lifelines or anything like that.
I would think it demonstrates a certain amount of skill to go from Buddy Jr., who is sullen and kind of unhappy, to between sets, yes, I'm on the show. Like, that says something to your acting ability that you can switch between those.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I guess I will say I've been known to have a pretty stoic resting face, and I think that lent itself to Buddy Jr. So for being just a kind of aloof,
There you go.
twerp. So
The nonverbal stuff is my favorite, so that makes complete sense to me.
yeah, absolutely.
So
Now,
sorry.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
No, so I say I know a lot of our listeners like to hear stories. So do you have like a favorite story from set or anything?
Yeah, I mean, the go-to one is the one I don't want to give away. I don't want to spoil for
Back up.
anybody, but I will say, out of that, it was really, really as a showcase of just how wonderful everyone was and is that was part of that project. When what happened to me happened afterward, in TV and film, sometimes it's such a business that I guess you can be a little not negative, but a little, I guess, clinical about things. It's like, oh, it's just a job. So why would anybody, invest heavily in each other outside of work? But it was really cool. So what happened to me happened, and then there were 4 other characters that we were going to be like the Lion 5. And so there's Gray Damon, Michael B. Jordan, LaMarcus Tinker, and maybe it was the 4. No, there was one. Oh yeah, Matt Lauria.
Mhm.
And anyway, what happened to me happened, and it was a bummer. It was really hard. And later on, actually the same evening, very, very late, after everyone had already wrapped, the 4 of them showed up to where I was at I'm really teasing it hard, but it's like I was at the hospital, and the 4 of them showed up, and they had zero reason to at all. And they just said, hey, we just want to make sure you're okay. How are you doing? And they just sat down and hung out. And I was like, oh my gosh, like you guys are all, you've been doing this for so long, and I'm a newcomer, and we didn't even know each other, and they just came to see how I was. And I thought that was the most special, coolest thing in the world. I mean, I'd known these people 2 weeks, and
Mhm.
there are these great actors coming in to say hi and hang out and making sure I was okay. And I'll never forget that. So yeah.
That's cool.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
when we get obsessed about a show, we try to watch like everything we can on like interviews that they've done about it and behind the scenes things they've done about it. And that's something we've heard in a lot of the interviews about Friday Night Lights from the cast members, is that was the atmosphere there. And then you hear a lot of them say, well, we still talk, we still hang out. And I know that the Derek Phillips and Stacy, is it Orsano?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That they just started that podcast together. And so it's really cool that it actually was as family oriented as the viewers got a feel for.
Yeah. I mean, so much. I mean, I like to think that it doesn't take, you don't have to go to school to be an expert. Like if an actor is good or is effective, or if a story is working or not. We're all trying to tell truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're all trying to be our authentic selves in imaginary scenarios. And so much of what everyone was doing on Friday Night Lights, to echo what you just said, is they're just being a part of themselves. They're bringing this truth to themselves in that present moment. And they're not faking it, it's real. And
Mhm.
there's that connection and love there. And so as soon as you yell cut, it's like, I mean, everyone's joking around with the crew. I mean, you know, even though you don't see them, like they were 100% just as much part of it, and their energy brought that life to it as well. And you know, on weekends, it's like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? It's like, oh yeah, let's go do X, Y, Z. And it's, yeah, it was really, really, really special.
Awesome.
Cool. So to piggyback off of that, do you still, I know you mentioned that you still talk with Brad Leland. Is there anyone else from the cast that you still are in contact with or keep in touch with?
I mean, nowhere near as much as Brad. He and I became thick as thieves, and which has been great. But I'll I guess touch base with Stacey or Ostano over the internet every once in a while. But she's a great musical theater actor, and she's in the theater as well, and great voice. Yeah. And so, and Derek Phillips, I think he's doing a lot of voiceover work, a lot of great stuff there too. So, but yeah, I don't really keep in touch with a whole lot of other folks. And for no particular reason, just
right.
You know, everyone's living their life.
Time.
Yeah.
Lives and time.
And like you said, by the last season, they were all starting to finish off things and kind of branch
Right.
out.
Everyone was kind of going in their own way, in their own
Mhm.
direction.
Yeah. So what first connect, like obviously you and Brad, you were connected through the script, through he's playing your father, you're playing his son. But was there a moment where you two personally that just kind of solidified the connection between you two?
I think, let's see. I mean, he has two girls in real life, and I think at some point maybe there was, you know, this like, oh cool, a father son in real life sort of vibe going, and but nonetheless, I mean, I think we just really just hit it off, and he had been, I think they'd had a target to bring in the Buddy Jr. arc for quite some time. And because one of the things that he had said to me when I first showed up on set was, we've been looking for you forever. We finally found you. It's so cool. And so, which was my first, also an educational moment where I realized, like, oh, in TV, like they probably have all these ideas from the outset. They're just waiting to find the right person. It's like, well, we have to keep pushing this to the next season because we haven't found person X yet. So anyway, it was, I think it was very much anticipated for him, and he was excited, and we just luckily got along really, really well. And he's just the nicest guy in the world. So it's hard not to become friends with him. So
He does seem like a real life Buddy Garrity.
Oh, he is an energy. You will walk into any room that he is in, you will know he is there. in the greatest way possible. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, because he seems like that. Like I actually just watched Deepwater Horizon like last weekend, and I was like, oh, there's Buddy Garrity. He was in there, and I feel like his character, even though he wasn't the nicest guy in that movie, the energy of just, I mean, you couldn't take your eyes off of him in the scene, was still the same in that, even though he had a small part. So
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think your character came on at the perfect time because his character was starting to go through something. Buddy Senior was going through something where he had just left the Panthers, and he had this huge, almost redemption story to his arc. And then you came in and he got to pour that into your character. And by the end, even though you had that thing that happened to you, they still played you in to be somewhat of a leader on the team. I remember there was one scene, I don't remember if it was the championship, but you had stood up and said something to the team, and you obviously couldn't play, but what you said spoke to them, what you said hit them. And it was just kind of nice to see that flow from his character down into yours. And it just seemed so cohesive. It seemed like it all fit naturally.
Yeah. I mean, and that's testament to the writers, I mean, and directors. So you know, when it works out as poetically as that, and I like to think of that in life in general, if you're going through some sort of difficulty or a trying time or a change of some kind, and you're able to let that flow in a healthy and effective way into and through those that are around you and those that you love. I mean, to all go through that change together. I think it's all works out wonderfully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How are you specifically through that storyline? Was there something that, other than obviously it was a big deal because it was your first TV appearance, it was your first kind of real Hollywood gig. Was there another way that maybe you were impacted by playing that role? By being in that kind of set, maybe with all the writers and the showrunners and the other cast? Was there a way that you were impacted as you went forward onto other jobs?
I mean, it certainly, like, as you said, it was my first real major television opportunity. And so it was a crash course. I was definitely I felt thrown in the deep end in the best way possible, which is great. But there were many moments where I thought, what, this is happening at light speed. And okay, this isn't high school theater or college theater anymore. I mean, this is the pros. And so there were moments where I had to calm myself down and to ensure that I was, like, act cool, be cool. All right. Don't, oh my gosh, that's Connie Britton. Oh my gosh, that's Kyle Chandler. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. We're all just hanging out right now. I'm hanging out with these 2 Emmy Award winners. They just found out they got nominated for Emmys. Wow. Okay. All right. Play it cool. Oh yeah, sure. How's it going? So many moments where I had to just remind myself that we're all just humans here, and we're all just trying to tell stories. So it's all good. So
we always have a little bit of that before we do these interviews. We have to get on 10 minutes beforehand to be like, all right, we're gonna handle this fine. We're gonna be okay.
Have you seen all of Friday Night Lights now?
I have. It's been a while though.
So did you watch it before you were on?
Yeah, I had watched before I got the audition. I had watched it a few years prior when it was out on NBC. And I think it was just life. I was, getting busy in my own life and kind of fell off of it. And then, here season 5 came along and you got an audition for it. I thought, oh, whoa, no way. And then, of course, when you get any sort of opportunity like that, you do your research. And the more I very quickly realized, doing research, that this has a huge cult following. There are people that love this show.
Yeah.
And that is probably the most highlighted thing that I came to know, is that the fans of this show, I've never experienced more loyal fans of this show than I've ever heard any other fans talk about a show. Maybe Breaking Bad, but when it comes to like Friday Night Lights, there's this loyalty it's not like a crazy, like, oh my God, you gotta watch this show. It's like everyone feels like they're part of the family.
Yeah.
They'll and that's a really cool special thing that I'm very, very grateful to have had that opportunity. So to be part of that. And yeah.
Did you have a favorite character?
What's that?
Did you have a favorite character? Or do you?
Besides Buddy Jr., obviously.
Oh yeah, besides Buddy Jr.
Top dog.
I don't know. It's like I could watch Kyle Chandler just be coach. I could watch him read a newspaper and he's just like the coolest guy in the world. So that off the top of my head, that's my answer.
It's a good one.
Yeah. I like that you compared it to the loyalty, because I think every podcast we've done on Friday Night Lights, we've done a couple episodes on it. When we're talking, we like to dissect the characters, we like to dissect the storylines and all that, everything that happens in the show. We're very analytical about it. But one thing that comes up commonly is, I don't like it when they hurt my whoever, whether it's Tim Riggins or Matt Saracen. We don't hurt them, because those are our people.
Yeah. Very loyal.
Do Do you have any current like favorite TV shows that you would love a chance to be a part of, or maybe a favorite actor or actress you'd like to work with?
I haven't been watching a whole lot of anything recently. Got a very, very young baby right now, and
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, a little older sister. So
Busy.
my wife and I are quite busy, and
Understand.
yeah. But yeah, nothing off the top of my head. I remember maybe this is kind of like a dumb answer because we're already past it, but I remember years before it was even rumored to be an HBO show. I read Game of Thrones and I thought HBO needs to make this into a show. And then like a few months later, I read in the trade that they were. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have to get on this. Oh my gosh, I want to get on this so bad. But I love the show, and that would have been fun.
That would have been a cool one.
Fun.
I would have gone the other
yeah.
direction of, did I just make this happen by thinking this? That's amazing.
Right. Okay, will myself into the show.
Well, they're doing a prequel now, aren't they?
They are, yeah. Hey, it's not too late, I guess.
See, exactly. You could. There is still a chance for that.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
you said something that sparked a great deal because we're all moms. And actually, my 3-year-old is currently, I keep muting myself because my 3-year-old is currently downstairs being watched by my 7-year-old, and I keep hearing very loud squeals.
Cheers to the experience. I know it.
So, how old are your kids?
One is 3 and the other is 3 months.
Ooh,
Oh,
that's so
So
sweet.
yeah.
I know I miss mine being that little.
yes,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Mine talk
Pretty
now.
great. Yeah.
I miss it and I don't, because I do remember how much hard work it was. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I just realized that when you were talking about the midnight feedings watching Friday Night Lights, that really, really resonates with you right now, probably.
Yep.
Are you still
So
like the sleepless nights sort of phase?
We're, knock on wood, I think right now we're starting to transition out of that. So as you said, there's, you miss it and you don't, and there's every stage has its own thing. And so
Yes.
what was hard about one stage, like, well, now that difficulty's gone, but now there's a new difficulty. So but it's all part of it. It's all great. And yeah, knock on wood, everyone's happy and healthy. So that's all that matters.
I have one that's turning 10 here in a couple of days, and so we're getting to the
nice.
preteen girl phase, which is
Oh
a
man.
whole new challenge.
Oh
So that's
man.
fun,
All right. Yeah.
I have
I
I have
only
3
imagine.
girls, and so I have a junior high student this year, and I'm coaching her in volleyball, and that attitude is very much like mine when I was her age, and that's terrifying.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So what was quarantine like for you guys when you had, because I imagine your daughter must have been between 1 and 2 in quarantines, or your oldest must have been between 1 and 2 when your quarantine started. What was that like for you? How did you guys get through that?
One day at a time.
Yeah.
And just really trying to, there's no constant, of course. So it wasn't, every day wasn't, peachy perfect, but
No.
just as much as possible, like leaning into reminding ourselves that, you get to be with us at home all day. And that's a pretty darn cool thing. And we have, we're figuring out how to make it work, and it's great. So, number one thing, making sure everyone's healthy when we're thinking of everyone else as well. So we're, trying to stay in, and so it brought certain challenges, but at the same time, it was also a blessing. So, it's all the platitudes and, wise quotes are abounding right now and coming true about, the days are long, the years are short. And there are many times where my wife and I will be like right in the thick of it, where it's just, we're so exhausted and just, we're just spent. And yet we'll be able to find the moment where like, find some way to appreciate this, because there's going to be a time in the future where we're going to look back at this moment and we're going to look at it fondly or feel about it fondly.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, remember when we were so tired? Like we were kind of getting pretty darn cranky. We were starting to, we wanted to growl at our 3-year-old for doing X, Y, Z. And it's like, but that's the spice of life. That's the cool stuff, because we were all together, and nothing lasts, and in a good way. So
Yeah.
it's like, hold on, get through it, and that's what we try to tell ourselves. But that's how we
really
got through the
good
pandemic.
Good advice. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to ask, what advice or what kind of pearls of wisdom could you give to parents who are in this business? Or because I know that there's a lot of, people are having babies every day, but some of them are having new babies in the midst of working this business and this job. And it can be, I imagine it's pretty difficult to do what you guys do and still have families at home and still try to balance that.
Yeah, oh boy, I'm still pretty new at this, so I don't think I've got all the wisdom, but from an acting standpoint, I'll just say that, acting is, to me, all about being as present as you can. And, you memorize your lines, and that's a subset of actors have their own opinions on that. But, if you've got everything memorized and you're able to connect with your scene partner and just be present, real magic and life comes out of that. And to apply that to life, the best that a person can be present with their partner, their kids, their family when they're in that time, putting the phone aside, turning it upside down, putting it in the other room, whatever it is, even if you've got 5 minutes with your kid, to turn off your brain, your own worries, all the laundry list of things that you have to do, like once you've taken care of your kid or kids, is that takes constant practice, but as best you can, keep trying. And because what I keep telling myself, when my wife and I keep telling ourselves, is that thinking through our daughter's eyes, like, is she going to, she's totally soaking up every single millisecond that goes by.
Mm-hmm.
And is she recording, is she getting, like, ingesting into her core my eyes and my wife's eyes, like looking at our phones or looking at her, or being with her, or being somewhere else. And of course, there's, as a parent, like, you basically have 10 arms, you're trying to do different things. And
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's like you got to be perfect or anything like that, because I'm not. But as just using that as like a North Star has been helpful in connecting with this relatively brief time, because they, as parents, they do grow up fast, and it's like, wow, we're already looking back at baby pictures and kind of bummed about it, like, oh my gosh, like, she's not that age anymore. Wow. Oh, okay. Wow. And so to connect, I think that's my long-winded answer to your question. I'm not sure if I got right, but
you did get it right. You got it perfectly. Is that now what's coincidental about that is that I was going to ask you, what advice would you give to someone who is trying to break into this business? Is it largely the same, to make that connection and just keep going?
Well, what do you mean, to make,
like when you're on an audition, to try to really connect deep with that character that you're auditioning for, or with the showrunners who are, I don't know how an audition works really. I in my head, I imagine you going to a big room and there's like a table of people, they're watching you perform. I don't know if that's how it works, but would your suggestion be to them, or your advice be to them, to connect really with that character before you get into that room to audition, or maybe try to make a connection with the showrunners as you're auditioning?
Both.
Okay.
So as far as making a connection with a showrunner or anyone that's working on the show, I think there's some etiquette there that you don't want to start direct messaging them on Twitter or find their email or something like that and start bugging them. Like that's probably going to get the door closed on you. So there are protocols and etiquette to follow for sure. But as far as as an actor and trying to go get through an audition, you absolutely want to invest as much as you can in preparation for the opportunity for your audition. And then when you go in and do your audition, whether it's a self-tape that you're doing at home with a reader on the other side of the camera, or if it's in a room with the casting director, casting associate, maybe even the producers too, there's never right. I don't think like this is always the way. Regardless, you just want to connect and bring your ultimate truth. And it might be totally wrong, but if it's honest, that's the one thing that I have to tell myself this constantly, because there are times where I really want something, I really want a part, and I'll try to be something I'm not, and it shows up. And so I'll send it to like my wife will take a look, or I'll send it to a couple of acting friends, and they'll say like, like your first take was great because you weren't trying. And which sounds silly, but you know, acting, when you're really trying, it's like you're acting. When
it's fake.
You know, it's fake. Yeah. So when you're able to connect and just bring your honest truth, that will stick in casting's head far more effectively than you trying to wedge your shape into that character. So it's like, bring what you can and bring all of it and honest, and then let it go. And I will be telling myself that till the day I die, because that takes practice. And so that's my advice, I guess. Yeah.
I think it's solid.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So we always like to end with our last question to our guest of, do you have any projects that you've been working on, or do you just have any social media, like maybe your YouTube channel, that you want to share with the audience that they can follow you and keep up with what you're doing?
Sure. I mean, I guess if you just look up on YouTube Jeff Rosick, I've got a channel there. Nothing too much, but I've got a few projects that I'm in the middle of writing and creating. So it's not, I'm kind of a dud of an answer there. That they're in certain stages that aren't really like, cool, check out this really cool, great, PDF I can show you. And they're in their own kind of, we're working on it stages right now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But they can make their way through your IMDb profile and go look up all your filmography right?
Yes, they can. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, I think that we really liked having you on here. We really appreciate you spending an hour with us. We always get nervous when we tell people it's an hour, but we appreciate you sticking it out with us.
Hey, yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So I'm just going to close this out real quick. And if you guys have any questions for Jeff that you'd like us to forward on to him, or if you have any questions about, this interview or what he's up to, let us know. And when you have your projects that are out there, Jeff, and you got them done, let us know. We'd really love to promote them in our groups. And our Friday Night Lights group is really, they really love what our casting crew, and I say our because you guys sort of belong to us now.
Yeah,
as family.
Yeah. Actually, I guess I got one more. I do have something. It's not my Jeff Rosick really related, but so as I said, I compose music, and I really enjoy orchestral music. And so I've started this project called Cover Orchestra, and where I cover popular songs with an orchestra. And I've got a YouTube channel up, so you just can look on YouTube, Cover Orchestra. It's a black background with a little white logo. And I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
And it's just an ongoing project that I enjoy, and it's a journey. We'll see where it goes.
I really enjoy that kind of music. I know Bridgerton does that a bit, where they take pop songs, and it's not, I don't know if it's exactly the same, but they'll take the popular songs and they'll change it into just instrumental.
Yeah.
There's something really beautiful about that.
Oh,
Yeah. It's pretty fun. Yeah. So that's that. And it's very much like throw it on in the background kind of stuff. I don't know how many people are, sitting there on YouTube, like watching a static screen, listening to orchestral music. So that's my own little nerdy fun. So
is that something you will eventually put out in like album format? Or just for fun?
Possibly. I've got a few ideas, kind of, Jeanette, to what you were asking about, like where your project's at. There's a lot of ideation going on. So I've got a few concepts in mind to how to continue releasing these and a more more just with a wider reach. But right now, I'm just trying to focus on, as I've explained, time isn't the greatest resource right now. So
Sure.
when I get the chance, my main focus is just writing the music. So and then putting it out there, and I'll figure out how to amplify its signal a bit in a little while. So
That's awesome. I can't wait to listen to that. Even if, I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have to, the other thing about YouTube is you don't have to sit in front and watch it. You can just play it while you're doing whatever you
Mhm.
want to do in your house or whatever.
exactly, I put together a couple of playlists. So there's a cooking one, there's a study and focus one. So
That's
Oh,
awesome.
Love
yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's a good idea.
So there you go.
I'm rethinking a lot of things now that you have it like laid out like that.
I'm gonna go put it on while I finish my day, probably after this. So yeah.
All right. So if you have any questions about Jeff or what he's up to or what we're doing on our channel, you can email us at familyfanclub2021@gmail.com. You can also check out our Friday Nights group at Facebook on Friday Night Lights Dylan Family Fan Club. We'd love you to have it over there. We do character spotlights, and we do fun things there about Friday Night Lights and all the cast and crew there. And if you want to check us out on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok, we have some variation of FB Family Fan Clubs. You can search that. You'll find us. And next week, we will be chatting with you again. So thank you so much for joining. And Jeff, thanks so much for coming on. We really, really enjoyed talking with you.
Hey, thank you. Likewise.
You're very welcome. Have fun with the babies.
Will do. Thanks.
Bye.
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 Bye.